dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Racing Media Network. We are live from beautiful Richmond, Virginia for some short track night racing. I'm joined today by my broadcast partner, Matt Metler. Matt, how are we doing today?
Angel, we are doing fantastic. We're Richmond. We're under the lights. This may be a small track, but it certainly doesn't race like a small track. So many different grooves, the evolution of the track, the ARCA car on this track, which in my opinion, this track is designed for. We're going to see some great high-level octane racing tonight. So folks at home, strap yourselves in. It's going to be epic.
I absolutely love this track of Richmond, man. It is so much fun. It's so hard, so difficult of a track sometimes to put on a schedule when you're a league owner, because if you don't have the right group of people, and even then you can have a great group of drivers, but this tends to be a race where cautions happen. It's just that even being patient, it's somewhere where you can lose control of your race car. So it's what makes Richmond so much fun, though. It's so difficult, it's so daunting, and yet you're so excited to go out there and see what you can do.
You know, that's the other part of Richmond that people often forget. This is a very mentally challenging racetrack, and I think that's why later on at night you see so many cautions and so many other storylines unfold, because catching someone at this track is one thing, passing him is another, and sometimes that requires using that chrome bumper, door checking the guy out of the way, and then what happens? All mayhem breaks loose, and you start to see those Richmond historical classics repeat itself time and time again. But you know what? There's a possibility that could be in store later on for us tonight. But each and every one of these drivers that we have on the grid, Ed Morris, Michael Larch, Justin Adisak, these guys are true professionals. I don't think we'll have those types of problems tonight. I think we're going to see some clean, door-to-door, high-octane racing here at Richmond.
Without a doubt, I agree. I do believe that cautions won't be as prominent. We're going to have cautions tonight. I can almost assure it, just because it is simply is Richmond, and I don't care how good you are. The exits here in turns 2 and 4, man, they are just so freaking slick. Nowhere. You're just looking for grip everywhere. But that's what, you mentioned. That's what makes this track so much fun. You can be right up against the wall. Obviously maybe not right up against the wall, but just a little bit off the wall. Sometimes they're real close to it. But in that high third lane there, really carry the momentum to the corner. Or you can be somebody that wants to be right on the bottom, riding around that yellow line over here. So you can see as the arc comes across the turn, you're really trying to hold that line and keep this as short of a track as you possibly can. Either way, there's minimal grip in either side. It's really what maybe suits your driving style better. And also, the possibility, of course, as we mentioned, these long green flag runs and whether or not you can save the tires, because it's 155 laps tonight around this 0.7 mile racetrack. So it's a short track, a little bit bigger of a short track, however. And with the possibility of not having to see too many cautions, I know fuel-wise, a 75% fuel load, so probably won't need to make too many pit stops for fuel, but with 4 total tire sets tonight, dividing that up about 38, 39 laps a set, these drivers will surely be looking for some fresh general tire rubber in tonight's race any chance they're given.
Oh, that's going to be at a premium. You said it already. This track does not have any grip, and you have a car on the racetrack that's not known for its grip. And don't forget, this is before all the active aero technology and improvements. So this is a technical race car. What I mean by that, you have to take care of this car. It likes to be driven nicely. It likes to be caressed. Easy on the brakes. Let it roll through the center. Pick up the throttle, roll into it. Don't just mash it. So all these different factors coming together, this is going to make this race tonight. We're going to see multi-groove racing. You're going to have those cautions because the only way you're going to pass people, you either have to outbrake them in the corner or you have to pick up the throttle exit on early, which we both know at times this car will make you pay dividends for. So hold on, buckle up. Angel, I can't wait to kick this thing off. It's going to be a good one, as I said before.
Oh, absolutely. An exciting race we have in store for us tonight. As drivers finish up the qualifying session, we got about just under a minute and a half left. We'll kind of briefly go over last week's results. Ed Morris winning now 4 races in a row, the most or the best stretch of any driver so far this season, surpassing the 3 wins in a row by I believe it was. Man, now my mind just went blank. Who had those other 3 wins in a row? Oh, GT Hawkins. I'm sorry, GT, who is not a regular in the series, has raced a partial schedule this year. He had won 3 in a row. Ed Morris matching it and surpassing that with 4, looking to make it 5 this week. But man, right now it still leaves Justin Adesagok and his just unrelentless, efficiency, and his average is just unreal. In 8 races this season, he's got 8 top 10s and 7 top 5s. And the 7 top 5s compared to Ed Morris's 5, well, that'll make a difference right there in why Adesagok has a 28-point lead going into the final 2 races of the season.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Don't Sleep on Me, Justin Adesagok. I'll tell you what, Angel, that guy passes more cars week in and week out, and he just has a knack for coming to the front at the right time of the race and coming on hard. That man should definitely have more wins than he has right now. But how about getting back to Ed Morris? I mean, he should basically run for president. I mean, he's got so much momentum, and we talk about in racing over and over again, momentum breeds and leads to confidence from the driver to the crew chief and throughout all the members of that team. So look for that momentum to carry. Let's see if Justin Adesagok can dethrone Ed Morris tonight here at Richmond as the cars begin to grid.
Yep, as you mentioned, cars beginning to grid now. We'll go ahead and find out who's going to be starting on pole for tonight's race. And none other than the man you mentioned with all the momentum in the world. It is Ed Morris starting out front. Michael Larchin second. Michael has been quick the last couple of weeks. He just knows where to qualify. He just likes to run up front. I believe he qualified second last week, if I'm not mistaken, in the number 2 car. Then you got Justin Adesagak here in third, and Dean Gagliano is going to be there in your 4th place car.
That's right. Dean Gagliano, he's going to reside in the 4th place position as we roll off. 5th, the 24 of Greg Carr. 6th, Ed Morris Sr. Look for him to make his way towards the front. 7th, Corey Dar. And rounding out the field tonight, starting in 8th position, the 67 of Bobby Doyen.
Right now we are just a moment. Sorry about that. Looks like I kind of forgot to update our paints here. The this league here uses their own paint system here with extreme scoring paints. They do not use trading paints as part of that ordeal. So gonna get those loaded in just a moment. Everybody, hang on tight. Aside from that, you see the blank number 7. I think we're trying to update it here, so everybody just give it a slight moment. We still have one more lap to do before we're going to be green flag racing. Only 8 drivers in tonight's race, which is something that you typically see happen toward the end of these seasons, especially on some of these that with drivers on a car that struggles the way it does on a track the way this is as well.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I couldn't have said it better myself. But Richmond has sometimes the way of turning the tides and flipping the script, if you will. So tonight, let's see if we can put history to rest, with these cars, with the current trends of the season for this ARCA Extreme Series, if you will. Ed Morris, he's going to be your pole sitter again tonight. He's going to lead the initial charge down to the green flag as that iRacing.com pace car makes that hard right. Here we go. Strap those belts tight one more time. We hit the Geico restart zone, and Ed Morris meshes that gas pedal through the floorboard. He currently rockets into the lead as he goes down to the low side, eating high on turn number 1. Ed Morris currently out in front by about 1/10 of a second over second place. Michael Larch, he's going to reside in...
Ed Morris Sr. and Greg Carr. Ed Morris Sr. gets off the wall there off of turn 2 and gets into Greg Carr. Massive damage there for Greg, and of course without a fast repair will probably be done for tonight's race. How easy it is to happen. Nothing Ed Morris can do there either. When you're side by side like that off the turn, sometimes there's nothing more you can do but except hold on to it, and unfortunately either yourself or somebody else might be the one involved in this one.
Yeah, certain Angel, thanks for pointing that out. I was glued on the initial start of the race, and sometimes that's what happens, especially with these ARCA cars. You got to remember, this car is very loose, especially on cold tires, and you have that initial anticipation of the race. Your adrenaline's up. You're gritting your teeth. You're 10-2 at that steering wheel. And unfortunately, a very early race casualty here with the 24 of Greg Carr. He's got some substantial damage, especially to the driver's side of that machine. Looks like a cheese grater went down the entire driver's side of that race car. He's bringing it down pit road right now. No fast repair in the bank. This is going to be a lengthy pit stop and most likely take him out of contention early tonight. But sometimes that's racing, and you can expect those types of things at Richmond.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Right then and there, Ed Morris puts down the next fastest lap of 22.22. That is 2/10 quicker than the guys behind him. He is putting them down as quickly as he can right now. Almost surprising. You maybe want to try to save a little bit of tire instead of using it up this early, I would say, knowing that you might not get a caution here with only 6 cars currently on the racetrack.
You know what? That would be the case unless you weren't going up against, where did he come from, Justin Adesagak. Do you know how many times Ed Morris has fired off and that man has ran him down? Ed Morris knows if he doesn't get a big cushion underneath in that differential, so the time between the leader and Adesagak early, Adesagak will utilize that to his advantage later on in the run. So I understand why Ed Morris is running like it's the last lap right now. He's trying to see how much time he's going to be able to make on the field before his tires wears off, and how long it's going to take the other competition to catch him. I guarantee that's going through his head right now, and that's why we're seeing it out there on the racetrack.
right now. He's put himself to about a 1.4 second lead over your second place driver of Michael Larch. Justin Adesagok kind of staying patiently right behind him. We've seen him do a very good job of saving his tires over the long run as well, but we've also seen him burn them up. So it looks like he's taking it pretty calm and patiently right now, knowing that this is definitely going to be a long run of a game here. And I'd have to say, really, from there, it's going to depend on whether or not he saves the tires better than Ed Morris. And, you know, of course, coming down pit lane, we're probably going to see green flag pit stops here. Question is, as you see that 88 very loose there off of turn number 4, are they prepared to be doing some green flag pit stops? Did you practice those? And this is a very tough pit road to come onto, especially with old tires. As Adesagok looks to the inside for second.
Yep, as Adesagok looks to the inside for second, look for him to challenge and contest for that position, but I wouldn't anticipate him putting too much pressure on this early in the run. You certainly don't want to have an incident like we had on the initial start of the race. But there he is, the 88 of Justin Adesagok. Michael Larch going to do the smart thing. He's going to go ahead and let him go right now as the two lives to fight another day or later on in the run. Getting back to what you said about the pit stops, Angel, you're right. And if these guys didn't practice getting on pit road at Richmond, especially on some worn out rubber, hold on for your life, because pit road entrance is going to get interesting. If they didn't, they'll remember this and practice it next time. But Richmond is probably one of the most underestimated when it comes to the difficulty of transitioning onto pit road. You said it best right there, sir.
Yeah, I mean, you can be, if you want to try to be super aggressive and dive down, you know, in the middle of turns 3 and 4, sure, you can. But, you know, your recommendation is come down turn 3 right here, or going into turn 3 and just put her on to the apron and keep her safe. You know, I've seen drivers be aggressive and do it the other way, but that transition right there and that turn, it comes across so much quicker than you expect. And I've seen guys try to be aggressive and then in the process smack that barrier or completely miss pit lane, trying to be too aggressive coming down pit lane.
Right, and not only that, over the course of a run here, you technically do what? You dial more rear brake bias in it. With having to cut the wheel that hard on the entrance to pit road and that much brake bias in the back, typically people just helicopter either into the barrels there at the entrance to pit road, or sometimes just spin and miss pit road altogether. But you know what? Knowing these guys, Ed Morris, Justin Adesagok, Michael Larch, these guys are so fluent week in and week out. These guys are what I call Tier 1 iRacing caliber drivers. Something tells me they've probably already had some track time, and they knew this track was known for pit road incidents. But we'll have to see. But I'm fairly confident these guys won't make too many mistakes on pit road tonight.
Oh, well, I mean, one can hope for just the entertainment reasons, but I can't disagree either. But you never know. You know, you have Ed Morris and Justin Adesagok. You see Ed just barely get onto the apron there off of turn 4. That'll slow him down a little bit. That last time around, Adesagok about just over a tenth and a half quicker than Ed Morris, holding on to a 1.6 second lead. But so we're talking about overall just and how these drivers plan to make it here through this run. I mean, and the drivers still left here in the playoffs. Jeremy Horn not in tonight's race. He was the third place driver in the standings. He had a 1-point lead over Michael Larch, so Michael simply starting tonight's race will give him that advantage to move into the third place here in the standings. However, maybe a little too far back to make any noise on Adesagok being 52 out coming into the race. The biggest moment would be for Ed Morris if he can try to dig into that lead. It's 28 points to Adesagok in front of him with 2 more races left. Not a lot of chances to make up those points either for Ed Morris.
Nope, the chances will continue to dwindle down as we get further and further along in the series. But tonight's a night you'd like to capitalize. You have a smaller field than usual. You don't have the huge threats like GT Hawkins in this race, who was so dominant during his active time in this series. So you got to take advantage of this, and think of it this way, Angel. Just for starting the race tonight, you're guaranteed a top 10 finish. The worst you can come home tonight is 8th place. So why not put a few wild cards, pull a couple jokers out of your sleeve, and go for the W tonight and try to maximize and kick your season into overtime early if you're potentially out of it. A win most oftentimes will get you in.
Yeah, I mean, and a win isn't just useful. It doesn't really do anything for you this season. More so, sets you up with that positive momentum going
Exactly.
into next season, as you were mentioning. But not just that, but I mean, it makes the season a little more worth it. It's like, all right, you know what? Obviously, didn't have a chance for the championship there at the end, but I got a win in the bank, and right now your current points leader Justin Anasagok doesn't have a win, so you can say you had more wins than the current points leader to make yourself at least feel better and just make the season feel a little more worth it.
Exactly. It's hard to fathom and say that Justin Adesagok does not have a win. I mean, with as entertaining and electric as he's been on the racetrack his times, he's just always come up literally one position short, or he's been in position. A late race caution comes out, doesn't execute as good as he should on pit road, or someone's just slightly faster for a few laps on that late race restart. But just wins have avoided this man at all costs over the course of this season. But you know what? Tonight could be the right time for Adesagok to get win number 1 in victory lane right here at Richmond.
And it'd be just the perfect way to head into Phoenix next week, considering it's they got quite the quite the championship battle to go into Phoenix with. I mean, we know Phoenix as another track that can be very difficult for some drivers. Of course, it's a little bit bigger, quarter mile big. Oh, and Morris Sr., what a save right behind Dean Gagliano there coming off of turn 2. Wow, what a having the chance to be able to see that live as it happened in that close moment there for Ed Morris. But nonetheless, Ed Morris Sr. But yeah, just Phoenix is not an easy track, so being able to go in there and maybe be a little bit safer there for Adesagok, or just preparing yourself again for next season. You're going to have to race at Phoenix next year. Get as much data and practice as you can for the championship race this year in case it's the same one next year.
Exactly, and I can't stress how much one win actually does for a driver. I mean, even like you said, a win so much tonight from a point standpoint doesn't really help Adesagok like it does in the Cup Series with the playoffs and the round of 12 and how that format works. But mentally, you've made it over that hurdle, and that just rolls down from the driver through the crew chief and everyone else on that team. And that mindset and that kind of resets going into Phoenix, your championship race. How many times have we seen that time and time again throughout the course of racing history? You get a win, a week or two before the championship series, and oftentimes that driver continues that momentum and holds the trophy. But how about Michael Larch here? He's going back by the 88. If you remember what I said at the start of the race, he let Justin Adesagok go. And like I said, oftentimes at Richmond, comers and goers was very confident we'd see Michael Larch come on back by as we get, 20, 25 laps or so into the run. And that's exactly what happened. Michael Larch doing a good job of managing his equipment right now. He's a couple tenths faster a lap. Now that he's cleared the 88, let's see if he can run down or try to cut into that deficit between him and the 7 of Ed Morris. He is still your current leader.
Yeah, you saw Michael Larch make that pass. He let Anasagok by him, about lap 10 again, just being respectful, knows that Justin was faster at the time, went right on by, and, when Michael was faster behind Justin said, you know what, you let me by, race me with some respect, and I'll do the same for you. So 19 laps later, just letting the race come to him for Michael Larch was a great decision. You mentioned, let's see what his speed is like. He gained about a tenth there on Ed Morris, your leader, who's got about a 1.5 second lead. So we'll have to see here how much longer can Ed Morris hold the lead, or is he just playing with Michael a little bit, maybe saving his tires a little extra?
Yeah, the cat and mouse games, or the psychological games, could be in full effect right now here on the racetrack, especially as we're not really even we're not even at lap 50 as of right now. The other question I have is, what are we currently anticipating for, our fuel in lap window? When did these tires really start to fall off and you're ice skating out there and the driver is just screaming at the crew chief to let him come down pit road and put 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods on, Angel?
That's a great question. That's a close one between your leader and the lap car there of Corey Darr. They were trying to make that as easy as possible, and sometimes trying to make it as easy as possible almost cost to both of them right there. That could have been very close. Ed Morris is going to lose a ton of time here on this lap, probably more than even anticipated. Yeah, just over a tenth there.
Yeah, I can imagine he probably needs to virtually change his racing suit after that transition out there on the racetrack. But that just goes to show you how close these guys are to the edge. You get some lap traffic who's kind of eating into your racing line and things get dicey in a hurry. Great job by those guys not collecting each other. But yeah, Ed Morris is not going to want to have to go through that at any point in time tonight. I guarantee you that, Angel.
Not at all.
And again, Adesagak just about mirrors what the leader did with that 45 car. Oh my God, it almost happened twice in a row.
And it goes to show you that I don't care how many cars are out here on track. All it takes is catching them at the wrong time. Corey Darr is doing everything he's supposed to. He's racing his line. You saw he has not changed his line one bit the entire time. But sometimes it's just the spot on the racetrack in which you catch them. It's always most inconvenient just trying to come off of a corner. You can't quite run your line, and they can't run theirs. And, oh, boy, can it make for a dangerous situation. And we almost saw it twice there with your first two of your 3 leaders.
Right, and hopefully third time's not the charm, and I'm not talking about the lucky side of that charm, if you will. So currently, right now, we're working lap 38. Judging by these guys catching lap traffic and the near disaster, trying to overtake that lap traffic, you would think maybe lap 50? I mean, how far do you want to go? I mean, these times have certainly fallen off a little bit since the initial start of the race. And on the other side of that, I mean, Michael Larch is continuing to chew into that deficit. He's down under a second, but how much time is it going to take Michael Larch to run Ed Morris down? Remember, at the drop of the green flag, Ed Morris took off like a rocket ship. For all intents and purposes, yeah, Angel, you're right. He was running way, way too hard, burning his stuff up. But I really think that the logic behind that is let's see how long it takes these guys to run me down. That has to be in the playbook somewhere, especially with the stiff competition in the race tonight. Like, the 88 Adesagak, Michael Larch, the Ed Morris Sr., all these guys very capable winners here at Richmond tonight.
Well, we jump on board here with Ed Morris to just try to get an idea as to what is it looking like in the race car for him compared to that of the driver trying to chase him down right now. We jump on to Michael Larch here. Michael seems to have a lot more grip going in and right through the middle of the corner. Ed is getting a good run off, but Michael's able to get in deeper and keep up with him off of the corner right now. You see he's wrapped around the bottom, and it's holding well. Gets a little loose off the corner there, but that's about expected here at Richmond off of turn 4.
Right, and that's where you make your time here at Richmond. You can really make time up on corner entry, roll in the center, or you can make it up on corner exit. But I think while we're able to see Michael Larch just drive it in so much more smoothly, and look at that, he can get right down on the yellow line. That's a good handling race car, especially 43 laps into the run, and he's almost completely wiped out that deficit. But as I said earlier, catching someone at Richmond and passing them, it's two different leagues of their own, per se. Let's see what happens now as this battle continues to heat up on old tires, I might add.
Well, right now, the battle for fourth is between Dean Gagliano and that number 5 car of Ed Morris Sr. Ed Morris Sr. had caught Dean, and just as you were saying, just as we were watching there on the broadcast, you said it perfectly. Catching them is one thing, passing them is going to be another. You saw Ed Morris not quite able to pull off the pass, and just like Michael Larch is going to have to back off, cool off his tires, let him settle down for a moment, and then go right back at him again after a few laps.
Yeah, it's almost like the game of cat and mouse. Hey, I'm gonna, the accordion effect on full display, you know, closing in on him. Here we go again. Michael Larch, he's going for round 2. He's going to paint a bead right on the back of his bumper. He's going to try to make a mental mistake, drive out the back, or use the rear view mirror instead of looking out his front window and potentially make him miss the entry to the corner. But Ed Morris does not typically make mistakes like that. But look how much more Michael Larch is able to rotate the center of that corner and get that number 2 Monte Carlo Impala right on the yellow line. That is the fastest way around that racetrack. You can get back on the accelerator, carry that momentum all the way up through the corner, you know, almost to the wall at the start-finish line. And here we go. He has the advantage, bottom side of the racetrack. Let's see if Ed Morris just lets him go on by here. No, he's going to contest it on the outside. He said, not so fast, Larch. I'm not ready to give this lead up yet. He's going to try to turn down a little bit on him, take his groove away so he can't carry that momentum up to the racetrack. That's a great defensive line maneuver by the 7 of Ed Morris. Here we go again. Going to take it down to the center of the cordon, but 7's going to be eaten on the top side where Mama hides the cookies, just taking that defensive racing line, taking the preferred line away from the 2. He's not letting them get on the accelerator. And the other side of that, he's making him burn up those general tires by not letting that car drift off the racetrack. The 2's not going to want to stay in this position for much longer because he has to know he's burning off those tires in a hurry. But this is some great side-by-side racing, Angel.
Oh, I'm loving this here. These guys are sticking into each other side by side. Ed Morris is racing mostly the bottom, maybe about half a lane, half a groove up the entire time. He is not running a line that he has not run really all race long, and he's doing it with success. Looks like Michael Larch is finally going to clear. No! Man, what a run. You see him. He is loose. He was loose halfway down the straightaway still. The 2 was loose. That'll give the 7 Ed Morris the advantage back into 3.
Like I said, catching them and passing them, 2 different stories. Now, the other way you can do this, yes, the 2 could absolutely give a love tap to the 7 or vice versa. But once you engage in that type of racing, the gloves come off, and that's typically where we start to see all this historic Richmond mayhem break down on the racetrack. And these guys, you know what? They're just not ready to do that yet. I don't blame them. Proof you can still put on some great high caliber racing without tearing each other's race car up. The 2 is finally gonna clear, but let's see if the 7 tries to go. Gonna clear. Magnificent job by Michael Larch being consistently applying the pressure. But how about Ed Morris jumping to the high side and making it work? A line I haven't seen him run at all tonight. He gave the 2 fits getting by, but now that he is clear and out in fresh air, let's see if the 2 can continue to check out on him, or how much of those tires did he use up getting pinned down on the inside of the racetrack. That may have been the equalizer, and a great move, great decision by Michael Larch if that's the case, if he's not able to check out on him.
Well, and I wonder the same thing there, or, you know, the similar situation for the driver behind, Justin Anasagok. Those guys battling, we'll jump right back over there briefly, actually reeled Anasagok in a little bit, brought him in by almost more than half a tenth. Actually, it was almost 0.6 of a second that he gained on these 2 drivers while they battled for the lead. That last time around, the first 2 drivers of Michael Larch and Ed Morris were a tad faster, but the problem there is that you allowed Anasagok to gain anything at all, and you cannot afford that at all.
No, I didn't even want to mention the man's name yet, but you said it, Angel. He's cutting into that lead. You had to. I didn't want to go there yet because I'm telling you, Anasagok, this is what fuels that drives man to the front. You forget about him. You don't talk about him. You start talking about the battle up front. They get racing, and that's exactly what Anasagok likes to see. And that's when man hits the turbocharger, and before you know it, he's right in contention, but maybe not this run, as that differential now opens up again to over 2 seconds. His lap times are just currently still not as fast as the leaders, even after that battle. But look for him to come down pit road. That man knows how to make adjustments to his race car.
Yeah, and I wonder if they don't, as they catch the 45 of Corridor here, put him now 2 laps down, the only car not on the lead lap. It makes me want to see this time Ed Morris catches him in a much better place through the middle of the corner instead of coming off of the corner. So that makes it a little easier for him. I wonder where Anasagok maybe catches him.
You know, and notice that Corey Dyer was very, very cautious. He slowed way down, took it to the very, very top of the racetrack just to avoid any type of conflict that they had the first time around. But you're right, he caught him in a much better position on the racetrack. Hopefully, Adesagak, you know, the rest of the guys have similar success. But now we are approaching lap 60. When do you pit?
Well, if you have, I don't know the fuel situation, unfortunately, as these two drivers, Dean Gagliano and Moore Sr., stay battling side by side for fourth. But here comes the leader of Michael Larch behind him. Oh, Ed's going to get very loose off of turn 4. He's just going to back it off and say, nope, I'm good. No, thank you.
Nope, I'm done. I'm rolling out of this mess. Oh, as the 5 almost comes up and chops the nose. And just like that, you go from hardly any action on the racetrack to a hornet's nest at the very front of the field, involving the leader, the 5, and the who is this guy on the outside?
18.
The 18 of Dean Gagliano. He almost made a Fagliano out of this melee on the racetrack, as it could have got dicey here in a hurry. But that's Richmond. That's Richmond International Speedway. It does things that other racetracks don't. It can produce situations on the racetrack in just seconds, and we're seeing it right now. You got a potential lap car here slightly ahead. And for all intents and purposes, this is like 3-wide racing on 63 lap tires. This has a potential recipe for disaster at Richmond. Yes, written all over it. If these guys don't settle this out, big wiggle out of the 15 or the 5. If he thought about cutting it down low, but the 18 took his line away, that's going to help the 2 of Michael Larch tremendously as he holds Ed Morris up in traffic. Michael Larch probably able to catch his breath.
Ed Morris, pit lanes, lap 64.
I'm sorry, Angel. I totally missed what you said there.
Sorry, just kind of cut you off. Sorry. Ed Morris is going to be the first driver to hit pit lane. You called it almost exactly on point, somewhere around the lap 60 mark there. You called it just perfect.
Well, I've only raced this track a couple times in this ARCA car, and if I thought back through my notes, I wanted to say lap 60 to 70, somewhere in there. I just couldn't take anymore, and I guess that was the case.
Dean Gagliano's on the wall.
Oh, he kissed it. He took the wall to a quick date. Just quickly got in there and got off it, but still, these ARCA cars, they don't like contact. These bodies aren't composite like the next-gen car. These are hung sheet metal, and that wall typically really screws these cars up quick, fast, and in a hurry. So hopefully it was just a little love tap. But as you said, first driver is going to take tires on pit road. He should be able to come off, transition back onto the racetrack seamlessly. Let's see how much time he is able to pick up on 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods, relevant to everyone else on the field who's working lap 67 on these current set of tires.
Yeah, I was currently in the 5th position, about 35 seconds behind your leader, so it's just over a lap, of course. He's right now crossing the start-finish line. Michael Larch on the other end of the speedway. That last time around, 22:38 for Ed Morris, who had just pit, and 23:51 for your leader, Michael Larch, who was the fastest of those who had not hit pit lane just yet. So that's just over 1.2 seconds almost right there. So that's a ton of time to gain. But Ed Morris is just going to have to be smart with the way he drives it on these laps. And don't overdrive them now, because you know that it's just going to help those other drivers as their run goes on, where you've got the older tires and they're just be able to blow right past you.
Oh yeah, I mean even on quarter entry there, the 2 did the front tire shuffle there. It was wiggling as he was getting on the brakes. You can tell he's having a tough time rotating the center. Nowhere near down to that yellow line where he was just about 30 laps ago. Utilizing the egg shape in the racetrack, he's about a full lane up now. You can tell that 2 has used up just about all of his stuff. I'm surprised the rest of these guys haven't come down pit road yet, because, I mean, they're leaving Ed Morris Sr. out there right now, who was only 1 lap down, I might add, which makes him lucky dog eligible should we have a caution. I mean, he might just get his lap back the hard way if these guys stay out there much longer.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you gotta do it that way, you gotta do it that way. Last time around, a 22.4, 1.15 seconds ahead of Michael Larch there. So, again, making up time and making up a whole lot of it while he can.
Well, I can tell you this. That's exactly what the 5 of senior's doing. He just had a massive wiggle coming off of 5 and a wiggle getting into the corner. He is trying to do it old school right now. He's closing in the back on Justin Adesagak in that 88 machine. 88's got no tires at all. I doubt he will even contest when he comes under duress from that 5 car. But I would think that's what he's trying to do, especially knowing and seeing these trends of the race has not resulted in one caution yet. We didn't have a caution technically for the start of that race, but that was the only real incident that resulted in contact on the racetrack. So here goes the 5, Ed Morris Sr. Can he get it done on 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods? And what I mean by get it done, can he get past Justin Adesagak and Michael Larch before these guys decide to come in on pit road? Or once this does cycle, that pit stop cycle does start for those drivers, is he going to be able to unlap himself? He's got a good possibility as he's not far back. He's only about 1.1 seconds off the leader right now as we speak.
And Justin Adesagak, he's going to make his way down pit lane down from that second position. Ed Morris will take over the third position take over third position from his father, Ed Morris Sr., who has yet to come down pit lane. We'll see where Ed Morris comes out in regards to Justin Adesagak, who's currently still on pit lane right now. Actually just hit his pit box as Ed Morris is coming off turn 4, so this will be a nice, sizable gap here for Ed over Adesagak as he'll make that pass for second. Now with Michael Larch being the only driver currently on the lead lap.
Yeah, you're right. That's not going to be a sizable gap. That's going to be an all-you-can-eat buffet at the Golden Corral potentially. But how about that nice, solid pit stop execution by Justin Adesagak? He brings that Chevy Impala down pit road, stops right in his box. Crew goes to work. 4 fresh General tires on that race car. Probably a wedge or a potential spring or brake bias adjustment for him. Executes off of pit road back on to the racetrack. That 88's looking a lot racier than it was before those 4 fresh Dr. Feelgoods put on that race car. Waiting to see how this is all going to cycle out. But how these pit stops have started, I think it's going to definitely change the landscape of the race after this all cycles through, Angel.
Here comes Ed Morris. He's going to go to the outside of Michael Larch. He will take his lap back and become the second driver back on the lead lap. You have to know that Michael Larch is going to have to pit here at least within the next handful of laps or so. You'd imagine he was probably trying to take it halfway. That way he could make it on just one stop. We don't know if Ed Morris plans on taking it to the end as well. I imagine he can if Michael made it this far. So I don't know if Ed's maybe thinking a two pit stop strategy compared to that of Michael Larch of a 1 pit stop strategy, kind of splitting it down the middle.
And that works out great, unless that dreaded word I don't want to say, it starts with a C, happens.
Here it is. On pit lane now, lap 80 for Michael Larch, your leader. And Ed Morris, 21 seconds behind him.
Well, there you go. Ed spells it out for you right there. You want to know what his strategy was? It's a one-stop race. You go into lap 80, which is halfway. The 2 comes down pit road, Angel, like you said, looking to make no mistakes here as he's looking for his pit box. He sees it. Got it lined up here. Here he is. He's going to turn that car to the right, come to a stop, didn't overshoot the box. Good execution, coming to his pit stall. Crew's going to work right now in the car. The left side's going to come up on the jack. It's going to drop. They're going to come around to the right side of that race car, continue to put 4 fresh General tires on that car. The drop of the jack, and he is off in a hurry, especially having that great pit stall selection. That's how you optimize your pit time here at Richmond.
Yep, absolutely. He's going to be able to do that. However, he will rotate back on, cycle back onto the racetrack 15 seconds behind your leader, Ed Morris there. So, and then 5 seconds behind Justin Adesagak. So from here, it's just going to be see him pick him up and put him back down. But he's got to be careful. If he plans to only do this in one stop, If everybody else is on a different cycle than you, don't let what they're doing affect what you're doing. You have to continue to save your tires the way you did the last run to make this worth it. Don't start overreacting to somebody else's strategy. It's not got nothing to do with you. Just stick to your plan here.
Well, you took the words out of my mouth, Angel, and I was just going to say, now is the time for the crew chief and that spotter to be the voice of reason in the ear of that race car driver, because naturally that's what you're going to want to do. You're going to see that huge deficit. You're going to want to put that car to the metal and do your job and be a race car driver, but that's not going to help you execute this plan. So that's exactly what's happening. That crew chief, that spotter, letting them know, hey, we got a long ways to go. Our strategy is for you to be consistent over the course of the next 74 laps. Do what we've talked about and discussed and let the race come to you. But at this time, that is so hard for a race car driver to have that kind of discipline. But let's see if he's able to execute and this plan comes into fruition for him tonight. But 13 seconds, that's a lot to make up on the racetrack, Angel.
It's gonna be, but that last time around, he was 6/10 quicker, so that's a lot of time here over the final runs of this race, assuming that if Ed Morris decides he does want to make an extra pit stop, that'll put him even further back. So I think that Michael Archer's got himself in a pretty decent spot. For Ed Morris, I think at this point, I don't know how much more you can mitigate the damage, but I'd say you have to cut, he last pit on lap 63, gives him about 90-something. You have to do this in half. Cut it in half. Go 45 and 45, give or take, if it's 90 laps. And use your tires to your advantage.
Well, that's the other thing, but here's the other part. The mental pressure Larch is putting on Ed Morris, because he's getting his lap times. And as Ed Morris continues to hear that gap dwindling down, that's going to put more pressure on Ed to maybe rethink his decision and potentially decide to bail on that strategy and come down pit road. But when does he do it? Because the minute you come down pit road, you're basically giving up all that time in the other direction now to Michael Larch. But that's the mental strategy. That's the psychological chess match that's on display, because Ed Morris knows each and every lap the differential between him and Larch.
At the very least, showing Ed Morris a dominant race so far today between him and Michael Larch, essentially leading, if I'm not mistaken, all of the laps so far, all 90 of them. As we've completed 90 laps in already, Matt, I think we have to go pay the bills, or I might get in trouble. So let's go ahead and, everybody, we'll be right back. Give you guys a brief 60-second break here.
I'm going to go check out the hot dog stand.
Oh, I need some as well here. I hear they're pretty good. We'll be right back, everybody. All right, we are back here live from Richmond Raceway. Oh, as we say that, the 45 of Corey Dars in the inside wall there. Massive wreck for him. No caution yet, it looks like, here on lap 94. We're going to go ahead and jump over to see exactly what happened to Corey Dar in that 45.
Yeah, all was fine before the break, and as we come back, ouch.
Oh. That's a massive one right there.
Yeah, that's going to leave a mark.
All right. Well, that will leave 5 cars on racetrack now, with Corey Darr likely out of this race. That was some pretty heavy damage there. No fast repair. Don't know if he's going to have enough to come back from that. And then Greg Carr, of course, being involved on that first lap incident with Ed Morris Sr. when Ed Morris bounced off the walls. They were side by side there off of 2. Again, one of those situations where nothing more you can do, just wrong place at the wrong time for both of those drivers. Not enough racetrack for the 2 of them. Right now, Ed Morris still holds on to what is now a 7.5 second lead over Michael Larch and a 3.9 second lead over Justin Adesagok. We can't forget that Justin did pit 11 laps after Ed Morris, so he had the opportunity to gain a ton of time there on Ed over the end of this run.
I was just going to drop a slight hint in there that, again, this is what Justin Adesagok lives for. The entire last 3 laps of the race, we didn't mention that man's name one time. And we've been talking about the strategy and the pit stop lap differential between the 7 and the 2 of Larch. But as you said, Justin Adesagok doing Adesagok things on the racetrack, as you said, pitted 11 laps after the 7 of Ed Morris. As you can see at this time, they're both closing in on the 7 on that racetrack right now. So now he's got 2x the pressure. He's got 2 cars closing in on him for his number one, current contending for the win position out there on the racetrack. Outside of 3rd spot, 4th place is 2 laps down. 5th place, 2 laps down. Corey Darr, he is 10 laps down in 6th position. Greg Darr, off the pace, 96 laps. So for all intents and purposes, this is a 3-man race for the win tonight, and they're both closing in, putting the leader in a pressure cooker situation right now. And as these laps continue to wind down, Ed is going to have to try and make a decision here. If you pit now, you have a 3-second differential between yourself and Adesagok. You have a 6-second differential between yourself and Larch. How long does it take you to come down pit road? How much time are you going to give up? But then on the flip side, look how much time Larch has been able to make up on Ed Morris on those fresh tires. If you have a similar situation out there on the racetrack, you would think that, looking at the trends, that the 7 would be able to run him back down. But the other part is, we both know on these ARCA cars, Angel, that these tires do equalize at some point in time, or they should equalize.
Well,
do they?
I wonder, because you read my mind. I thought the same thing, for Ed Morris, but there's gotta be, you gotta wait long enough before you pull that move. As the 88's real loose there off of turn 2, trying to track down our leader. The reason I say that is because it could work, sure, for Ed Morris, but what's keeping the other 2 from just coming down and doing the same thing you did, realizing that you're gonna pick up on them? Does that make sense?
It makes sense. And how many times have we seen when there's a late race, I don't want to say it, but for this case, all intents and purposes, caution, the leader comes down and the entire field does the opposite. And I understand what you're saying there. You're 100% correct. But again, there's one thing that changes the entire complexity of this race, and we haven't had one yet. And statistically and historically, we should have at least one by now. I still think we're going to have one caution flag on during the course of this run, and it's going to come late. So I'm going to
disagree. I'm going to disagree. I think these guys are going to take it the final 50 laps here green, and it's going to be it's going to be pure strategy. Okay, not pure strategy. Obviously, the driver's skill goes into it, but strategy is going to make a hell of a difference in tonight's finish.
I think Larch is going to catch. Adesagok, and I think they're going to get into a battle, or there's going to be a battle out here in the top 3, and I think there's going to be a spin. There's going to be some contact, and the caution flag resulting from that. I think that's what's going to happen based upon all the races and all the trends of this racetrack from back in the day during the NASCAR Winston Cup era. I could be wrong, Angel, but that's just what I foresee coming. These guys just knowing that they're running out of time, racing just a little bit too hard, and someone gets spun the wrong way and the first caution flag unfolds. But on the other side of that, maybe you're right too. I mean, you have a very valid point. This could be a straight up chess match for the last 50 or the last 40 some odd laps from here on out as well. It could go either way.
Well, see, here's the reason why I think it's a possibility. Justin Anasagok, if you are currently him and, you are catching Ed Morris here, but let's say you start losing that, right? Ed Morris starts to pull away for some reason here. And Michael Larch continues to chase you both down. I would argue your best chance is to let, Michael go. Don't hold him up. Let him go catch your biggest competitor and take your biggest competitor out of the chance to win the race. Minimize the points he pulls away from you. And maybe, maybe if they start battling, you catch up and here, he's finally got his chance, I think there's so many different ways you can think about this, and that's just what I love about this.
You know what? I didn't think of that, but that's very probable. That is a possible outcome. But you know what? Then again, you know how tough it is to do battle on this racetrack. I mean, Richmond, it's a short track, but don't tell it it's a short track, because this thing throws Dover type level situations on the racetrack at you that often lead to cautions. And think about just how tough it was for these guys to get around a lap car. I mean, that was almost catastrophic twice. Now you got 3 guys going for the lead on tires that are 50% through the run, and you're going to tell me it's not probable we're going to have some contact? I think this could go either way. I think we're going to have a shocker here at the end, Angel. I think something's going to happen that we're not going to see, and this track's going to produce another epic finish.
What I was just about to mention here is that a lot of people like to gripe on what's considered endurance racing, because they say there's no real action happening. Well, I'll tell you this. This has been an endurance race. We've had no caution, 114 laps in. These drivers are tired, okay? This is something you don't do on iRacing very often, where you're doing this for 114 laps straight. So somebody can make a mistake there, absolutely. But I gotta say, 115 now laps into this, and you have 3 drivers within 2 seconds of each other? I mean, come on. Where does it get any better than that, Matt?
It doesn't get any better of that. And what I say to those people that talk about endurance race, you didn't wait long enough. You're too impatient, because typically those endurance type races, which hardly ever happen here on iRacing, if you're patient, you will be rewarded with an excellent finish. And that's exactly what we're setting up with here tonight. So here we go. The 88 of Justin Adesagok, he can smell the back of that race car. He is closing in quick, fast, in a hurry. Chopped at about 2/10, the gap under a half a second. And Ed Morris. So here we go. Let's play the round of deception again. Cat and Mouse 101 here, going to be on full display at Richmond International Speedway. So here we go. The 88's going to paint a bead on the back of the 7. Right now, the 88 can still turn it down the racetrack to that yellow line pretty good, unless Ed's just been saving his stuff and not decided to go all the way down there like he has earlier on in the run. He actually brought it down about a half a groove there that time on by. So you can see Ed's gearing up into the defensive position. But here we go, the 7 and the 88. Don't sleep on me, the closer, Justin Adesagok. He has done this so many times and passed so many cars. He's never been able to close it out. You have a slightly smaller than normal field here tonight. You don't have big names in it like GT Hawkins that's won so many races. Ed Morris, this guy has been on a tear, almost robotic at times. Pulls and wins week in and week out. Does the 88 have enough to finally push through and get one more position on the racetrack, or does Michael Larch have a plan of his own and he's going to spoil the potential final results for both these drivers? That's yet to be unseen. But there's one thing for certain, Angel. The intensity of the racetrack, the intensity is going up, up, and up each turn these guys make.
Well, I mean, and I talked about earlier about Adesagok letting Michael Larch go to screw over his biggest competitor there in Ed Morris. This is where Ed Morris also gets the opportunity to screw the 88 a little bit. You fight as hard as you can. The 88 looks like he might. No, the 7's gonna be able to clear him. You fight as hard as you can to keep that 88 behind you, because you know that number 2, Michael Larch, has got fresher tires. Is gonna be faster than the both of you. So hold him off for as long as you can. You give the 2 the best opportunity to go up there and pass that 88, and you make sure the 88 can't win the race either.
Don't look now, but the 2 has caught the battle for the lead. This is going to be a 3-way dogfight for the win and for the lead here. You got the 7. He's been out there the longest. His tires are about giving up. The 88, he's got 11 lap fresher Dr. Feelgoods than the 7. The man on the freshest rubber, the 2, but how much did he use up running these 2 guys down? We're just going to have to settle this out old school. Tuesday night style. The nighttime is the right time, and it's the right time for these guys to do some battle out here on the racetrack.
Man, oh man, these guys are having a blast right now. I'm telling you this much. Who to think again? 122, now about to be 123 laps complete. 3 drivers are all within half a second, 4/10 of each other. This is what I love about this.
Angel, you hear that right now? This is the calm, if you will, before the storm, and here we go.
Here it
is. Look at that. The 88, he's going to play the cat-mouse game. Look up to the high side, but when he does that, the 2 is going to stick it where he's not. He's going to put it down low. He's going to try and squeeze the 88 up into the wall, or not into the wall per se, but the high side of the racetrack. That's going to give the 2 the preferred line, who has potentially the freshest rubber on the race car. The 88, he's not going to let him slide all the way up the racetrack. Oh, he does give him a preferred lane. However, the 2 is just not able to carry the momentum center off the racetrack. That's going to give 2nd back to the 88. But don't think that 2 is not going to put that 2 car isn't going to try the top side of the racetrack. These guys will flip-flop lines, lap in and lap out, trying to fake you out a little bit and go to cover or defend where you're going to be, and at the last second you pull a shake and bake on them, referencing Talladega Nights, of course.
Oh man, here it is. We're side by side still here for 2nd. 30, now 29 laps to go left in this race. The action is intense. Boy, oh boy, we're just going to go ahead and stick to this camera view right here, because we're getting a great view to the middle of these corners. These drivers are pedaling it. Don't forget, these guys are on 40 to 60 lap old tires right now. They're not on fresh feel goods like you said earlier. They're struggling not just with the handling of the race car, but trying to keep up with the track and the drivers around them and what they're dealing with in their race cars. This is some of the best action you can get.
Angel, we're primed. As you said earlier, the grip on this racetrack is worn out. The tires are worn out. These drivers have to be worn out. And when you have all these different factors that just compile up to each other.
Michael Larch, he's going to cut in front of Ed Morse. Ed Morse has to back off. The 88, Justin Adesagok, he's going to back off. I thought he might take it low there with the momentum, but wow, they all had to check up. And here comes the 88 now. He'll cut it right under him. Like you said earlier, his ability to, he'll clear Ed Morse for 2nd off of turn number 2. And Michael Larch to the lead. Wow.
I cannot believe he lifted this late in the run. I would have thought a move like that would warrant a chrome bumper, and that was going to bring out the caution on the racetrack. But hats off to the showmanship and the level of the professionalism inside of that race car to let your foot off the accelerator. But look what's happened. Now you've slipped from 1st all the way back to 7th place. Now you got Adesagok in between you and the leader, but we still have laps remaining on the clock. These guys were able to close it within about, 10 to 15 laps the last time. Look for it to potentially close or group these 3 guys back together, reset the beehive in a couple laps, and we're going to do it all over again, Angel.
And what I'm interested to see here is, excuse me, sorry about that, is really how are these guys going to be able to finish off these last couple of laps. And hopefully Michael and Justin didn't overdrive their stuff as well. But, man, Adesagok really wants this win because he's all over the back bumper there of Michael Larch. He still wants this win, hungry for it, now with 24, about to be 23 laps to go.
Not to make things any more interesting, but now we got to throw a lap car potentially in the mix here, if I'm seeing things correctly, too, as well.
Yeah, the 5 of Edmore Sr., he's going down into turn 1 as... no, I'm looking at the wrong car. Hold on. I might be. No, we should be good. No, Ed Morris and Ed Morris Sr. is just a little further behind them, coming here now off of turn number 4 as they dive here into turn number 1. So I think they should be fine with lap cars here for the end, as the other 3 drivers who started tonight's race, Dean Gagliano, Corey Darr, and Greg Carr, all on pit lane suffering what turned out to be catastrophic damage for those 3 drivers in separate incidents.
Yeah, absolutely. And just look at the fall off now on the 7 of Ed Morris. He is now 2.256 seconds off of the lead. He is going the wrong way in a hurry. You know what? Right now, come down short put, throw on 2 tires, or if you want to chance it, throw on 4 tires. I still think there's a potential, there's a chance of a caution flag. We technically should have had one right there. I'm surprised that man lifted on the racetrack. I thought for sure that was going to be the chrome horn to the back of the race car and throw it up in the air and spin him into the outside wall for that type of a move this late in the race. But it just didn't happen that way. We're still green. But Ed Morris, he is going the wrong way in a hurry. Almost 3 seconds off the pace now, Angel.
You know, for Ed, I think really his bet is made. He's not going to be... I don't think you can pit right now. I think you'll probably go 2 laps down in the process, and a caution would need to save you. But in the process of that caution coming out, the other drivers will also get their chance at for fresh feel good. So I think you just have to wait it out, hope for a caution here. Now what will be over the final 18 laps of this race as Michael Larch has pulled away to about a 1.11 second lead here over Justin Anasagok, currently in the 2nd position. And then Ed Morris a little further back there, 3.8 seconds now off of your leader, Michael Larch. Again, that's 20 laps almost on a set of tires difference. Ed did a darn good job holding it where he did and holding those guys off for as long as he did.
Oh, yeah, without a question or shadow of a doubt. Hats off to Ed Morris, what he did out there on the racetrack and holding the charge off for as long as he did. But here he is cycling to the front. He lurched his way past Anasagok. Michael Larch, he is currently your leader. And as we go back to, I want to take us back to the start of this run from that green flag pit stop. Angel, we talked about it was going to be easy for this driver to run too hard with that 15 to 16 second differential that we were talking about. We said it was going to take a mentally sound, disciplined race car driver to not go out there and attack the racetrack, but race what's in front of him per se. He was able to do that, avoid some potential contact there with Anasagok and Morris, and now he's put himself in position to win this race tonight. As Justin Anasagok, I can tell that man is giving it everything he has. I see his car wiggling, coming off the corner just a little bit, but a 1.299 second advantage right now to Michael Larch. Does Anasagok have anything left in that 88 for the 2? Angel.
Well, I'm going to jump here. We're going to jump on board with each of our first 3 drivers. We'll show you what 61, almost 62 laps on a set of tires looks like in a driver's hands here at Richmond in an ARCA car. Never really full throttle. You can hear it. I'm going to bring this up a little bit so you can hear these engines a little louder. A lot of off throttle time, but still looks very smooth through the middle of the corner. Still loose, of course, off, but man, that's not a half bad handling race car from the look of it, and you can tell with that first place running position.
No, that's not a bad handling race car at all, but like as you said, you're not really full throttle very long, and I can promise you this. You put that car full throttle just for a moment, and that'll take a winning race car and potentially to a crashed race car, especially with this many laps out there on the racetrack. Now, if we talk about the 88, though, Justin Anasagok, I mean, this is typically where this man loves to thrive out there, over all the different types of races and all the different tracks that he has competed on in this series over the course of the season. Unfortunately, he is going in the wrong direction as well. That differential has grown to 2.11 seconds. I thought these tires would honestly equalize a lot better, especially like they typically do on this ARCA car. But perhaps the grip level just being so low on this racetrack, this old surface here at Richmond, maybe 10 laps, 20 laps, maybe they matter that much because the tires just never seem to stabilize with the competition.
Yeah, we expected that. You're right. You know, having the opportunity to see the tires maybe equalize in cars typically do, but you're right. Just a lack of grip everywhere. Everybody's struggling no matter where you're at. So you're just trying to make it through here to the end over the final 9 laps. We'll jump on board here with Ed Morris and listen to his onboard cameras. We were there on board with Anasagak as we discussed him, and just listen to how much more he is struggling with how this race car handles.
Yeah, I always like doing the side-by-side comparison, jumping on board in one car and then going right to another competitor just so you can see, and you guys at home, you can see the difference in the way these guys are attacking the racetrack, late in the run. Another thing, big shout out to all you guys in the YouTube chat and the channel supporting the cause tonight, if you will. If you're new to SRM, you like what you're seeing on TV, join the family. The easiest way to do so, smash that like button, ring that bell. Come home to SRM every single day of the week for high-octane eSIM racing action. You can count on us every single day of the week. We hope you join the family. Again, smash that like button, ring the bell. We appreciate you guys being on board and joining us for the high-octane action here tonight at Richmond as we're getting ready to wind this thing down, Angel.
Yep, we got now 6 laps to go for your leader, Michael Larch, in that number 2 car. He's I don't quite tell. It looks like it says Natural Bite as his sponsor, whatever they might be. We'll have to remember, hopefully, to ask him when we do his interview here, whether that be from first, second, or third position, considering the 2-lap gap now to 4th place Ed Morris Sr. Now with 5 laps to go, in discussing Michael Larch this season, was racing every single one of the races, got 5 top 5s and 7 top 10s, so he's actually tied with Ed Morris for second most top 5s in the league or this season, and has an additional top 10 over Ed Morris so far this season. Just doesn't have those 4 wins that Ed has. So Michael's had just a quiet, very successful season so far, which is the reason why he'll be moving into the 3rd position in the standings now to pick off his first victory, more possibly, or at the very least, to continue to add to a very impressive top 5 total.
You know what? And sometimes that's the position I like to be in out on the racetrack. If no one's talking about me and I'm quietly just hovering inside the strike zone, that's great because people forget about you. It doesn't put as much, much attention, which means less stress on you and the team as a race car driver. But you said it best. Michael Larch has quietly put himself in a great position here in the series as we wind down the race tonight and the remaining races of this season. But I got to hand it to you, Angel. And again, this is why you're the producer and I'm the commentator. You foresaw the future of this race, I think, better than I did, as that caution flag did not fly. And I think you called this one right, sir. I can admit it. I believe this is going to come down to, like you said, the strategy and the mental chess battle on the racetrack. Who played the right hand of poker, per se, against the house? And it looks like Larch had the right strategy. He played the right hand, and he's going to potentially bring this one home and put it in the bank.
Yep, coming through turns 3 and 4, Michael Larch, he's going to pick up victory number 1 with 2 races left in the season. Michael Larch wins here at Richmond Raceway in the Elite Entertainment ARCA Series. Wow, what a race. 155 laps, not 1 caution. And it came down to just that. Who could save the tires the best? And Michael Larch making the best out of it. And wow, what a great way to really just cap off this race.
Oh, yeah. I mean, way to put the 88 and Ed Morris into checkmate. King me. Larch, the king of Richmond here tonight. Burn it down, man. You deserve it. Don't know how much tires you have left before you pop them, but hey, you know what? You won the race tonight under the lights. You were fired up. We were fired up. Great race from start to finish, even though it was more of an endurance run, but I loved that battle as we were coming down there to the end between the top 3 finishers tonight. Michael Larch, Adesagak, Ed Morris put on one heck of a show tonight. They didn't even bump or touch each other, and they still put on a great quality race. Goes to show you, you can still put on a high quality broadcast without wrecking race cars, Angel.
Oh, without a doubt. I think it's time now to just go ahead and bring in our winner for tonight's race here, Michael Larch. Let's go ahead and find him first. Here we go. Michael, this is Angel and Matt here in the SRM broadcast booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, Michael, bringing home your first victory here of the season. We talked about earlier on, you had just a quiet season so far. 5 top 5s, 7 top 10s, and you're going to add to that total, but you get to put a W here in the bank, and 2 races left in the season. Great way to build some momentum. Michael, give us the rundown a little bit here of the race, and is this quite how you expected it to go?
I did. With only 8 cars in here tonight, I expected us to have long green flag runs. I probably could have pushed a little bit harder on the start of the runs. I knew Ed and Justin were pretty quick there, but I was trying to save tires just a little bit, and hopefully I could run them back down in the end, and that's how it played out.
Yeah, it was, wow, what a great job. And to think, 124 laps into what was a pure green flag run, no caution, that 3 drivers would still be right on top of each other. Just goes to show the talent and just the respect the 3 of you had, racing hard but putting on a show for us, as you guys were clearly struggling. 40 to 60 lap old tires at the time. How do you manage, I know that these 2 drivers are still a little bit ahead of you in points, so you should move into third now with this victory. How do you manage wanting to get your first victory and also racing the top 2 contenders at the moment in the playoffs? Or the standings, I'm sorry.
Just cautiously. I mean, I know those guys are out there quite a ways, especially Justin with the points lead, and the way that this series, the old-fashioned points format is set up. I'm really not going to catch Justin. I don't think anybody is, unless something drastic happened either tonight in the last race, which tonight didn't happen. Justin finished second, so I think he's pretty much got that locked up. So you don't want to make enemies, because come out here, race everyone clean, race each other hard like we've been doing all season, and have fun with it.
Michael, before we let you give a shout out to your people, I had to ask your paint scheme. Is there a little background to it, or?
No, I guess we got Natural Bite Prep as the main sponsor on here, and my one buddy that used to race with us, Matthew Robinson, he brought him on board, so I'm just rocking that for him, and that's it.
All right, love it. I'm sure you got a couple people you'd like to thank, and then we'll let you out of here to go celebrate this victory and pop open some champagne.
Yeah, I guess shout out to Natural Bite Prep, Timber Dust Woodworking. You guys up there in the booth at SRM, you guys kill it every week. The whole series, the league, Ed and his crew, they do a great job. It's been a blast coming in here and running with these guys. And my buddy Dean Gagliano that we run with here, he brought me in here, and it's been a blast.
Man, thank you so much, Michael, for joining us. Congratulations once again, and hopefully we get to talk to you maybe for back-to-back victories here next week.
I'll try. Thanks, guys.
All right, that was our victor tonight there for Michael Larch. We'll go ahead and bring in our second place driver, Justin Anasagak. And Matt, I'll let you take this one away.
Justin Adesagak, Matt and Angel up here in the SRM booth. Justin, I hate to say history keeps repeating itself, but man, you come home just 1 position shy again tonight. But nothing short of an electrifying effort out there on the racetrack. I know there's a lot of different mental strategies, chess strategies going on. I personally thought you were set up. I was counting on a 1 caution as you guys were all kind of getting ready to battle it out there, have the old Richmond Royale, and there was going to be a caution that ensued, but it just didn't happen. You pitted a little bit sooner than Ed Morris out there with 11 lap fresher tires. It just didn't seem to go your favor at the end, but you're still the points leader. You still put on a show. Justin, walk me through that race from your perspective for the start to finish. Did it go how you thought, or were there some curveballs that were thrown at you that you didn't see coming?
It went as I thought. I was just too tight on the long run, and that 2 car was just on rails, and Ed was just so much faster on the short run, so I couldn't really keep up. But so I tried a different strategy, put it after Ed and before Michael, and see if I can take advantage of the tires. But we all kind of just met up right right together again. When they started evening out. I was trying to get past Ed before Michael got to me, so they can at least fight each other, so I can at least scoot away a little bit. But the two was just too fast tonight.
No, and I agree with you. That too definitely had short run and long run speed. But I mean, you went ahead and you dug into the bag of tricks per se. You knew the 2 was quicker, so you had to do something different. You went down pit road and tried to offset the pit cycle, if you will, and you just came up a little bit short here tonight. Next week, though, I'm sure you know where we're going to race at next week. That seems more like a racetrack that's in your wheelhouse. Anyone that you want to thank on that race car tonight, Justin? I know you got to be getting frustrated. Even though you're the points leader, you've come so close, and you've put on such electrifying performances in this series to not have a win yet. But hang in there, man. Good things are coming. I know you're going to get one soon.
I don't know. I'm not that good at Phoenix either. So I've never been good at Phoenix. I think I won one time out of like I don't know, 500 races in league racing. so it's gonna be a struggle, but I think I run well enough to have a good run there next week. So, but I'd like to thank everybody that showed up tonight. Not many cars, and everybody that stuck through it, and you guys showing up and broadcasting this.
No, you're certainly welcome. We enjoy being up here and having the privilege to watch you guys race week in and week out. And Justin, I want to just remind you, the last time you said you weren't that good at a track, you just about went out there and got the job done. So I'm looking for you to get the W in Phoenix next week. I'm going to say that right now. Hang in there, man. I know it's got to be frustrating, but he's the current points leader. Justin Adesagak, the 88 machine, comes home up just a little bit short. Your second place finisher tonight. Angel, back to you.
All right, and that will be your third place finisher here in tonight's race. We'll go ahead and bring up, our second place finisher, our third place finisher here. We'll get that one right this time. And this is Angel and Matt here in the SRM broadcast booth. You got us?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Well, couldn't quite make it 5 in a row. You had to lose one eventually. Had an interesting strategy here to pit on lap 63, a little earlier than maybe the halfway point. Ed, did you feel like you were forced into that? Is that the plan all along? Walk us through a little bit the strategy for tonight's race.
No, I felt like I used my stuff up a little bit earlier than what I needed to, and I was hurting on that longer run. Michael, his tire, he was just a lot better than I was on a longer run, and he got around me there. And then I was like, oh, well, we got to try something. So I tried to short pit it to gain some time back up, and I pit too early. I should have waited a few more laps. I cut myself close on fuel and really had to go into the hardcore fuel saving there toward the end once those guys got around me to make it the rest of the way. But
that makes sense.
All in all, we were just on the wrong strategy. So live and learn.
Yeah, not every strategy is always going to win it, and I think after four wins here, you can't be too disappointed either that eventually didn't work out. I know we always wanted to, and but really a fantastic race. I mean, we talked about it. 155 laps here at Richmond to go green the entire time is a feat that's very difficult. I don't care how many cars you have out on track. We had a couple times tonight that a caution was close to coming out, but. In the same time, 124 laps into it, we had 3 drivers battling for the lead within 0.4 of each other. So it was a blast, really, for us to watch up here and for everybody watching at home. And I'm sure you'd have a couple people you'd like to thank for all of this as we head out to one more race left in the season.
Yeah, man. Just big shout out to you guys, everybody over at Sim Racing Media. All the hard work you guys put in to putting together this broadcast and to being here for us each week, all season long for multiple series. Greatly appreciate it, all you guys over there. Everybody at Extreme Motorsports for keeping this thing running, and all the members that we have and the fans and everybody from the support, our sponsors, Elite Entertainment, Agent Inc. Racing. Thanks to all those guys for keeping the lights on here. Just for everybody out there, anybody that's listening and watching on YouTube, registration is open for these series. The truck and the Xfinity registrations are open right now for Tuesday and Wednesday nights. So if anybody wants to get in on the action, get these fields built up, get some more cars out here, go to extrememotorsportsracing.com and go sign up, come out here and run with us.
Well, I'd say, all the races broadcasted here on Sim Racing Media, I think you guys put your, you put it out there and you show the quality of the league that it is. Every once in a while, these things happen with drivers at the end of seasons. Unfortunately, it's the case, but we see it all season long. What great action we've had, not just here in the ARCA series, but in the Cup series on Tuesday nights as well. So it's a pleasure for us, Ed. Congratulations here on the third place finish. Hopefully you get number 5 next week in Phoenix and cap off what's so far been a great season.
Thanks, man.
All right, so that'll top off our top 3 drivers. We'll run here real quick here through our race results here for tonight's race. Just finished speaking with our leader not too long ago, Michael Larch winning tonight's race. Justin Adesagok in second, Ed Morris in third, and Ed Morris Sr. will be your top half of the race there in 4th place.
That's right. In 4th place, the 18 of Dean Gagliano comes home 40 laps off the pace tonight. The 45 machine piloted by Corey Darr. He's going to come home 5th. 6th belongs to the 24 of Greg Carr, not Darr, Carr with a C, 153 laps down. Certainly last but not least, still finishing in 8th place tonight. Surviving NASCAR's version of Game of Thrones, the Game of Tires here at Richmond, the 67 of Bobby Doyen in 8th place, certainly last, but not first.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up our evening here tonight, broadcasting live from Richmond Raceway for the Elite Entertainment ARCA Series and Extreme Motorsports League. Of course, we just mentioned talking there with Ed Morris, the man who, one of the guys who puts all this together. Always looking for drivers. We see the fantastic racing, 155 laps here in Richmond to do it. Green flag. Green to checkered is phenomenal. Again, doesn't matter how many drivers. It takes one driver to just lose it off the corner on their own. So looking for drivers just to continue out the season and build for next year. Be sure for those who are watching, maybe not racing, to continue to watch every opportunity you get here with the Sim Racing Media Network. We have stuff going on all week long. Other than that, this is Angel Santiago, my broadcast partner here, Matt Metler, signing off. Everybody have yourself a great evening.